linda. Está como en la discoteca la van a empezar a...
No hay pasión más grande que un mundial. De la mano del 10, amante. De la mano del 10, amante. De la mano del 10, amante. De la mano venimos del sur, norte, oriente, occidente. Vamos para Rusia, que allá está mi gente. No importa tu raza, tu credo, tu bandera. Existen mis colores y una sola tierra. Desde Asia hasta Oceanía, todos viven en alegría. Europeos, africanos y latinoamericanos. No importa dónde vengan porque todos somos hermanos. De la mano del 10, de la mano del 10.
Amigos de teleSUR,
Friends of teleSUR, welcome throughout the world. We are here in the Mano Del Diez. We are in the final lap.
Good evening, Victor Hugo. Yes, this is almost the last gap. We just have the final match to watch, and both teams have the same eagerness. Both of them have the same expectations. France was one of my favorite teams at the beginning. However, Croatia wasn't. And I think no one thought that Croatia was going to be a candidate, but they were very
I
good.
have the sensation that overall, in the extra times with England, Croatia had a lot of personality.
That is the game that really made me believe in them. Because the game against England, well, England, they were too full of themselves because they were faster, because they were winning on the one-on-ones. Croatia was able to show the character of wanting to win. So, for instance, if Sterling was going to be in front of me, I was going to tackle him. And the same thing with every other player. And then Mandzukic and Modric starting talking to each other. And there are a couple of moments during the game where I was able to see that Croatian players were talking to each other and they were changing their positions. So one was telling the other one who to mark, which side to take, or to be careful of how each one of the players of England was playing. And this is the game where I finally was able to acknowledge that Croatia had a lot of eagerness and character. And after a Mandzukic goal, you see that he wanted to score because he was between both center halves. So this is the moment where I think that there's a big difference between the center half and the striker in the goals and in the money they're worth.
Yes.
Why? If you have two players to mark and one of them in the middle, you either look behind you or the one behind you needs to take a leap and go forward because you have them in front. And when Mandzukic headed the ball, well, when Perisic headed the ball, when he headed the ball, both center halves, well, they were hoping for the keeper to save it. However, Mandzukic was the one who came in and was able to strike it home.
And this, what is the final going to look like, the one for tomorrow?
Well, the meaning of this for tomorrow is, of course, for Croatia. And it will favor Croatia because We saw that they had a leap of quality. They show their way of playing as a team, and also they need to be given this chance, this shot. And if France doesn't play well tomorrow, as the team of France that we saw at the end of the game, maybe Croatia could be a surprise.
It's a difficult match, Diego. If I was a betting man, I would not bet because it is very difficult for me to put money on one of the teams.
It is difficult. However, I think that France is the favorite. And I think that Croatia, they're one level below. Well, actually one level above. This is what I think as a player,
What are the different tools thinking about France that Croatia may have? How can France win? What are the resources that they have to win?
Well, I think that the crucial topics are to deliver the ball to Mbappé, also for Giroud, to play a little bit out of the box, and also to be stronger in defense, because I think that Hugo Lloris, their goalkeeper, is a very important weapon for them. However, if you think about their midfield with Kanté, well, they are excellent players. But then I think that France is the favorite.
Yes, they are clear favorites. What about Croatia? What do they have at their disposition?
Well, the same thing as with England. If I have a drop of blood left, I will be right around the corner. It's just like this.
Yes, precisely. We have a guy like Modric, and that man left the last drop of blood on the pitch.
Every single drop. He was empty at the end of the game. He couldn't play any longer. He was so tired.
And what about the physical aspect? France had an extra day of rest. Croatia has played 3 extra times, so it's not an easy match for both of them because Croatia's tired.
Well, it could be felt if they ever get to the extra times. However, during the first 90 minutes, I don't think that there's going to be a difference due to the tiredness of both teams. I don't think there's advantages between both. Basically because they're playing the final of the World Cup, Victor Hugo. And then you need to remind this to each one of the players. And they need to say this and remind them every single moment. This is the final game of the World Cup. Then, after, if there's extra times, well, I don't think this will happen. Either one win or the other. But, however, if there are extra times, France could be better.
Croatia has not been given any gifts.
No, nothing at all. I think that it is the team where you can say, for example, Luka Modric, yes, that's him. How about the rest of the team? The rest of the players, well, they haven't had a penalty against them. Actually, it's been the opposite. They've been sanctioned with fouls because they are bigger, because they are running, because they want to win. And they are going to play, as you said, they're going to play the 30 minutes of extra time. However, during the first 90, they will be focused. They will be just thinking about the final, and that's it. I think that this is what the manager must do.
They have 2 great managers on each of the benches.
That is true. Good managers. I think that both of them are good. And I think both deserve the team they have. We haven't seen maybe set pieces or nice types of plays. Well, it doesn't matter because they're solid teams. They are very well assembled. They don't make mistakes. nor attacking or defending. I think that they're very similar in this aspect of when the right time comes, this one's going to play or this one's going to play. They know why they do what they do. And I think that this is very important in a final.
Let's go to a commercial break, Diego, please.
Let's go to a break. We'll be right back. De la Mano del Diez.
It's an organised crime family.
João Avelange é o capo
João Avelange is the
de toda essa
mobster
máfia
of all
do
of the
futebol
mafia in
durante
football
anos,
that during
reinou
years
na Suíça.
was the king of Switzerland.
João Avelange había ganado las elecciones.
Joe Avalanche won the elections in FIFA in 1974 after Stanley Rouse, who was an Englishman who was very conservative and discriminated the third world, mainly Africa. Avalanche was somehow disguised as Che Guevara. He was generous in his policies for the third world because this created voted for him. So he won the election with all these votes and decided that World Cup should become a giant business.
He gave FIFA all the power that they have now, with a discourse that he was not making politics, he was apolitical. What he did was the worst kind of politics, because he related himself very well with every single one of the dictators over the world, like Videla, like General Medici here, or General Figueiredo, or the dictators in Africa.
But the point was, he was in it for the money. And when you got stories which were upsetting to him, like in Nigeria, 7 activists were hanged. Hanged! He said, yes, but no, we don't get involved in politics. Well, I get involved in politics. I think that is a disgrace. I think it's terrible.
E a FIFA, aos poucos,
And
se transformou numa
FIFA
entidade com mais
became an
filiados
entity
até
that
que a hoje.
was affiliated to the United Nations.
Comienza la televisión a
So
expandirse.
TV started expanding their industry, and Avalanche established a very happy marriage, very long-lasting, with Coca-Cola and with Adidas. And in 1978, it was the first World Cup that was privatized. And what do I mean by this? The dictatorship had a lot of aspirations in order for this World Cup to be the possibility to take a leap. And Avalanche was the same thing for football. So both hunger and the need to eat were together, and this is what kept the World Cup going. So Avalanche was able to understand that the time for bribes was excellent in football and for the managers of football. It started in 1978.
O João Avelange
Joe
era muito
Avalanche was
cioso,
very jealous
das finanças
about the
da FIFA,
finances in
e não
FIFA,
saía tostão
and
da FIFA
not a single
sem que ele
cent
assinasse.
left the accounts without his signature.
Argentina. You got all these horrible men. Fortunately, some mostly in jail now. Took long enough. And you realise that every allocation of the World Cup has been crooked. It's been paid for.
Ese juego de votos,
This game of votes and business and goals first was created with Joao Avelange, who was definite in FIFA, and then Blatter.
Esto que acabamos de ver,
This that we have just seen, Diego,
That is a great input of our production.
yes, it is a whole show that is going to be shown on teleSUR, and this is just a snippet about the wonderful work that we have done.
It's wonderful. It is wonderful because it was difficult for me. Well, I cried. I cried a lot in order to say the things that I thought, the things that I believed, what they were stealing from us. Well, there were some doping charges that weren't totally true. They didn't know what to add in the results. But I clearly knew that I wasn't mistaken. And the report is very clear about this. Avalanche started discovering the world of football, and it was carved in gold, in diamond, in weapons. And lest we forget that Avalanche was someone who sold weapons, and where Avalanche went, well, other people were with him, but not to speak about football, but about his business. And then he left the next one after him, who together with Grondona, who is of course Joseph Blatter, who is a Swiss who, according to Avalanche, couldn't be corrupted. But he was taken under the mafia. He was taken under Grondona. And he taught him some tricks in order to rob and steal with every single multinational companies that were mentioned in the report, that were mentioned in this report. And well, they didn't end well. Well, one of them said the truth at some point. However, when they said that FIFA was a crooked entity and whatnot, well, I wasn't surprised by this. And everyone was calling me Victor Hugo in order to congratulate me, to tell me, Diego, you were strong enough to endure this. And sometimes you were by yourself doing so. But I used to speak to my old man, I speak to my mother, to my friends. And even some players told me, listen, they also need to take their piece of the cake. But this is not what you have to do. You're earning a salary for your work. Here, you're working for football, and you need to give football everything that football needs. And then we all start. However, by signing together with the Coke industry, you can get millions and millions of dollars. And also with the sporting brand, billions of dollars. And 20 or 30 years from that point, listen, at least as getting something, they just wanted to get some money, and that was good enough for them.
Well, we're going to leave Diego because of the multiple commitments. We are the day prior to the final of the World Cup with the best player in history, and he has plenty of things to do. But please, let's go to a commercial break, and then I'm going to be left alone.
Of course, in just a couple of minutes, we'll be back de la Mano del Diez.
México, Puerto Rico, República Dominicana. Brasil, Mosca, Egypt, uno, Syria.
Россия! Россия!
my people. I'm the Colombian parrot. Colombia, Colombia. Hey, 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 hey.
We are present at every event where our nations are staring. We believe in a new global vision, united in every broadcasting. We keep expanding our horizons and working on a closer and better communication. Now, in Grenada, teleSUR, the news source from South America and the Caribbean.
We have not spoken yet about what has been left by the third place match and Belgium's victory. And it was deserved because of Belgium did in the CONMEBOL. They were not the favorites. Germany, France, Argentina, Spain were the ones that were the most mentioned. But Belgium, whenever a journalist was asked his opinion, said, keep out for Belgium. And they were able to have a fantastic tournament throughout the World Cup. And today they beat England in that very cruel match that nobody wants to play for the third place. And the third place has its history. And we want to remember this story together with our friends in teleSUR in De la Mano del Diez.
The objective of every single team in the World Cup is to play 7 games. However, the 7th can't be so pleasant for 2 of the last 4. This is between the losers of the semifinals, the game that no one wants to play that defines the 3rd and 4th place of the tournament. Nothing for the trophy cabinet. It is a place where teams leave everything, however, they're not fighting for the title. They're often entertaining and interesting. There's no speculation. Those who haven't played during the rest of the tournament play in that game and try to seal their best participation. However, they leave anecdotes for the future. As the show between Poland and France in Spain 1982, a game filled with emotions where the White Eagles won 3-2 and had the 3rd place in the World Cup. This is remembered as one of the best games of this World Cup. Or France 6, but all Germany 3, Sweden 1958, the one with the most goals, 9. 4 of the only scorer who has scored that many goals, as well as being the top goal scorer of a World Cup with 13 goals. There were also some other records as the fastest goal of the World Cup. In 2002 between Turkey and South Korea, Hakan Sukur at 11 seconds showed the first mark on the score sheet. They beat the host 3-2. Some others were lucky and they never played the game. Argentina, the 5 times they reached the semifinals, always played the final and they won 2. A consolation prize, an official game for nothing, a friendly for points, whatever name you can give it. The game before the last game of every World Cup is the best excuse to make the World Cup longer.
Yes, the place for the third place is worth it, and the winners from today can say this. It was a very passionate story that we had, and a lot better is to become third or fourth even though you lose the last game, which determines that the fourth team of the tournament leaves with 2 consecutive losses, which hurts. But it's worse to leave in the group stage, and it's also worse to leave in the round of 16 or the quarterfinals. To be able to keep the hope up to the second to last day of the World Cup is very valuable. And for France and Croatia, thinking about the second place, the value of that second place and the match tomorrow is immense. We want to say goodbye to our friends throughout all of the channels throughout the world, but particularly today to Arena Sport in all of Africa. But very particularly we want to greet Lesotho and Liberia, to Comarca C in El Chubut, with a greeting for the Chubutian teachers who have managed, they don't understand what this is in the rest of the world, but they have managed to get a lot of things in their fight, in that very valuable fight. So we want to take the opportunity to greet them very specially. And also, ANW News in India. We are leaving, friends, and tomorrow we will have our last show. We are in De La Mano Del Diez, and we want to say goodbye to this World Cup in Russia, which we have been very happy with. And you have a lot to do with our happiness, the happiness that our spirit provokes, to have the opportunity for a journalist like myself to be next to Diego Armando Maradona in teleSUR in order to tell you with a different perspective what the World Cup has been. So see you tomorrow. See us when we will say goodbye after the final.
De la Mano del Diez. Monday to Sunday, only on teleSUR.